With yesterday's release of the trailer for The Last Jedi, we got our best look at Episode 8 since the teaser trailer earlier this past April at Star Wars Celebration. In this video, I want to break down the important scenes that we saw in the trailer and discuss what it all means for Episode 8 later this year. The trailer opens with a number of quick shots of Kylo Ren and the enormous military strength of the First Order. Specifically, we see Kylo staring out upon what looks to be a First Order foundry, or perhaps even Snoke's mega-class Star Destroyer. An amazing shot depicting the First Order's AT-M6 heavy assault walkers, with smaller AT-AT-like walkers intermixed, and an Upsilon-class command shuttle flying overhead on the planet of Crate. A scene of Kylo leading a group of First Order stormtroopers that was extremely reminiscent of Darth Vader leading the 501st Legion during their assault on the Jedi Temple. And finally, we see Kylo picking up his crossguard lightsaber with what looks to be Snoke's Praetorian Guard in the background. The most important aspect of this early portion of the trailer is the fact that we hear Supreme Leader Snoke stating, "When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power, and beyond that, something truly special." I'll wait until later in the video to discuss the importance of Snoke's lines here, but I haven't assumed that he was necessarily speaking to or referring to Kylo. But with the end of Snoke's reference to something special, the trailer then begins to focus on Luke Skywalker and Rey upon the planet of Ahch-To, beginning exactly where we left off in The Force Awakens, with Rey handing Luke the lightsaber that belonged to both Anakin and himself. The complete shocked and perplexed look on Luke's face once he received the lightsaber is tremendous. We then see Rey journey upon what appears to still be the planet of Ahch-To to discover the set of books that we saw previously in the teaser trailer. In previous videos, I've stated the reasons for why I believe that these books include works such as the Journal of the Whills, the Sunset Prayer of the Guardians of the Whills, the collected poems, prayers, and meditations on the Force, or even the Book of Stars, which are all works that have been introduced into the current canon that contain ancient wisdom regarding the Force. Either way, I believe these books are crucial to Rey's experience with Luke, as we hear Rey state in the trailer during these shots that something inside me has always been there, but now it's awake and I need help. From there, we see the extent of the raw power that's been awakened within Rey, as we see her training with a lightsaber, including a shot of what appears to be a progression within her accuracy with the blade. However, one of the best indications of just how powerful Rey is occurs next, as she causes the rock around her to crack and crumble while she engages in meditation. The extent of Rey's power is a shock to Luke, as we hear him explain,
"I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now."
I've seen some speculation over who exactly Luke is referring to in the previous line regarding his having only seen such raw strength once before, with some possibilities being Palpatine, Kylo Ren, or even Supreme Leader Snoke. But while those are all strong possibilities, and a video may need to be dedicated exclusively to this question, I believe that Luke is referring to his father Darth Vader. Vader makes sense given everything we know about how naturally powerful he was with the Force, but the reference to Luke's lack of fear would be a great callback to his scene with Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back, which ultimately referred to Luke beginning his training to confront Vader.
"I'm not afraid."
You will be. You will be.
From here, the trailer moves into a wonderful section that focuses on Kylo and his mother Leia. We first see Kylo with his helmet in hand, ultimately slamming it into a wall and destroying it. The trailer then reveals what appears to be a significant space battle between the First Order and the Resistance, with a focus on Kylo within his TIE silencer and Leia within her Resistance capital ship. The scenes that follow with Kylo and Leia are the most emotional within the trailer, particularly when seeing the amazing Carrie Fisher on screen again for the first time. As these Kylo scenes unfold, we certainly see him deliver destruction upon the Resistance ships, but the most important aspect is the narration that we hear from Kylo at the same time. He states, "Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. That's the only way to become what you are meant to be." It appears from the trailer that Kylo and Leia are connecting with one another through the Force, in the same way that Luke and Vader did in the original trilogy. To my initial surprise, we see that Kylo is still very much struggling to become that which he believes to be his destiny, an equal to Darth Vader and a ruler of the galaxy. The scenes from the trailer indicate that Kylo's going to be put in a very similar situation that he was in during The Force Awakens, but this time with the choice of having to kill his own mother. As great as the Luke and Rey portion was, it's difficult to not view these scenes with Kylo and Leia as the high point of the trailer. From there, we see a number of quick shots, the first of which is the Millennium Falcon being chased by a group of 4 First Order TIE fighters within a cavern laden with red crystal-like features. I believe we can assume that this scene takes place on Crait and ties in with the First Order assault upon the planet. This makes sense given that we know Crait's surface contains a thick crust of white-colored salt, while the planet contains a significant amount of red minerals beneath the surface. We then get one of the most popular scenes to come out of the trailer, and which I have to admit was the most smile-inducing. We see the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, where first Chewbacca gives his well-known roar, but then which is quickly followed up by a single Porg of Acto give a roar of their own. Oh, and what perfect timing! My protocol droid has finally deciphered exactly what the little guy was saying. Okay. Apparently the Porg said, "Darth Zana needs to be brought back into the canon. She was a great Legends character and has earned her place. Otherwise, the Porg uprising will begin." Hey, would you look at that? I love Porgs now. The trailer then gives us another look at what appears to be the space battle mentioned previously with Kylo and Leia, but this time from the point of view of Poe. We see Poe flying his Black 1 T-70 X-Wing starfighter, of course with BB-8 aboard as well, with Poe stating, "We are the spark that will light the fire that will burn the First Order down." There's a very cool shot with Poe's Black 1 engaging a First Order Dreadnought, with a handful of its 24 laser cannons firing upon Poe, with an additional First Order battlecruiser in the background. The inclusion of the Dreadnought leaves me to believe that it was its orbital guns that destroyed the starship in the previous scene within the trailer. It's great to know that we'll be seeing both the new ATM-6 and Dreadnought in action in Episode 8, as I was a huge fan of both after their release. I have to say that this space battle is one of my most anticipated moments in The Last Jedi. Next is probably one of my favorite visual scenes within the trailer, as we see Finn, who's dressed in a complete First Order military uniform, except for the hat, and armed with a Z6 riot control baton used by First Order stormtroopers, go toe-to-toe with Captain Phasma. Visually, the scene is stunning, as we can see the glow of Finn's Z6 baton illuminate off of Phasma's chrome armor. I've considered where exactly this scene could be taking place, but it bears a striking resemblance to the same setting that Kylo was looking upon in the opening shot of the trailer, which would make sense if Finn was engaging upon a mission to infiltrate and sabotage a First Order military installation, thus also explaining his uniform. As we approach the end of the trailer, we see a few more shots from the planet of Crait, which includes a quick view of Leia, but also a shot of what appears to be an ice wolf, or at least a wolf with crystal-like appendages all over its body, which makes me wonder, when exactly did Dave Filoni start working on Episode 8? Between these shots on Crait, we see Luke on what appears to be Acto tell someone off-screen,
This is not going to go the way you think.
It would be easy to assume that this statement is directed at Rey, particularly given the fact that we see Rey in a similar environment with Luke within the trailer around this same time. but I believe that there would be something wonderful about Luke directing that line at a Force ghost who's trying to guide him, whether it be Obi-Wan, Yoda, or Anakin. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but I believe this setting would be perfect for a scene like that. Finally, as we get our final shots of just how powerful and dangerous the First Order is, given the size of their military and navy, we get the final amazing scenes from the trailer that includes both Snoke and Rey. First, we see a much more human-looking Snoke than I ever imagined, with his hand out appearing to use the Force. What stood out immediately was two things. First, the fact that Snoke doesn't have Sith eyes, which again plays into the question of what exactly Snoke's Force affiliation is. And second, the trailer ends here before the final epilogue-like scene with Rey and Kylo, just as it began, with Snoke speaking to a second individual, stating, "Fulfill your destiny." Given that we see Snoke in the background in front of Rey at the end of the trailer, clearly within the similar gold robes that he was wearing in the prior scene, I believe that it's very likely that all of Snoke's dialogue in the trailer was directed at Rey, in a face-to-face confrontation between the two. This fits in nicely with the final scene from the trailer with Rey and Kylo, which together with the prior scene with Rey and Snoke, will be the parts of the trailer that I'll be focusing on the most in the coming days and weeks leading up to the release of Episode 8. Although I have to admit that there may be some misdirection occurring in this final scene with Rey and Kylo, accepting it for how it comes across, it appears that Rey tells Kylo, "I need someone to show me my place in all of this," with Kylo then extending a hand to Rey for her to join him. It's a fabulous cliffhanger to the end of the trailer, and together with the previous scenes that Rey has with Luke and Snoke, one really does have to wonder what Rey's path will be in Episode 8. Overall, the tone of the trailer was exceedingly dark, even darker than what I was already expecting. One of the most fascinating aspects to the trailer was that we not only saw Rey struggle with the dark side, but also that Kylo appears to still be struggling with the light. While I was anticipating some of these struggles from Rey, it certainly wasn't to this extent in this film, and I would have thought that Kylo would be pushed down the path of the dark side to a far greater degree than how it now appears. Although 4 weeks ago, I would have found it very unlikely that Kylo could be redeemed and emerge as a hero of the trilogy, and 4 months ago somewhat unthinkable, I now have a hard time imagining the opposite. I've seen some speculation that Kylo's arc may be similar to that of Revan, and I don't think there could be a better analogy, going from the light to the dark than back to the light. As one of my favorite characters in the new trilogy, it's great to see that there's so much more left to be unraveled with the leader of the Knights of Ren. I believe that what we're seeing in regards to a lot of these aspects with Rey and Kylo can be reduced down to the Force, and what will ultimately emerge from it after Episode 9. This trailer focused much less on the Force itself than the previous teaser, with absolutely no mention of the light or dark. Instead, we saw that these two characters are desperately searching for help, and therefore could potentially turn to unthinkable places for answers. Overall, this trailer was amazing. It far exceeded what I was expecting in terms of both quality and quantity, demonstrating that The Last Jedi is going to have some pretty amazing space and ground battles, but also delve deeper into the characters of Rey and Kylo, while at the same time define this version of Luke Skywalker and Supreme Leader Snoke. I hope that you enjoyed this breakdown and discussion of the Episode 8 trailer. Please do not hesitate to leave your thoughts and opinions about the trailer down in the comments section below, as I'd love to hear what you thought. Thank you for watching, everyone, and as always, may the Force be with you.